All right, what's going on, Wisconsin?
All right,
Back
welcome
for another
back.
one.
Yeah, welcome back for another one. We're gonna get started tonight. We got another good one. We're gonna delay our last episode of our series of American 250 because the news cycle won't let us get away from it and won't let us get back to it. There's so much stuff going on in the world we can't even keep up with it. But we're gonna talk about something that's near and dear to us that we've talked about a couple times on our platform, and that's voting and how it affects the states and the federal government. And this time it's federal strings attached, the battle over who controls the American ballot, federal government against states. And we'll talk about what you and I talked about off air a little bit about how when you got a Democratic president in office, things change a little bit. So we'll talk about that. Okay, every ballot tells a story. Every vote is a fingerprint of a people deciding who they want to be. But what happens when the rules of democracy comes with strings, federal strings, to be honest, tied tight around the states? Today we're breaking down the Trump administration's move to withhold Homeland Security money unless states adopt new federal style voting rules.
This is absurd. This is ridiculous. Hey, all you
Yeah.
states' rights guys out there, where you? I expect for the news to be filled with all these states' rights people because the
Yeah.
federal government is now coming in and telling Big Brother's coming in and tell us how to operate our voting.
Yeah.
But welcome back to Gents Making Sense, the show where we take the policies shaping our lives and make them plain. No spin, no panic, just clarity.
And today's topic is a big one. The administration is saying adopt these voting rules or lose 20% of your Homeland Security funding.
Yeah, setting the stakes. Now, this isn't pocket change. DHS grants funds, counterterrorism, cybersecurity, emergency preparedness, the stuff that states rely on to keep people safe.
Yeah, and little facts before I go to the next one is, it's under the new guidelines, states that do not comply with required election reforms will forfeit 20% of certain DHS grants, which collectively exceeds $1 billion nationwide, according to Yahoo.com. I'm sorry. So let's just give you an idea of what type of money we're looking at the federal government keeping from different states. Okay, so but the administration is tying that money to election rules, and two of those rules are a backbone of today's conversation. Those two rules are mandatory hand-marked paper ballots and manual audits for number one. Number two, mandatory citizenship checks using DHS database called SAVE. Let's get into it, y'all.
Well, you can't do anything. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's just,
let's kind of stay with those paper ballots for a little while. Go ahead.
it's just ridiculous. I mean, paper ballots really is 2026. We're going paper ballots.
Yeah,
The president himself, with his dumb self, he doesn't even do paper ballots. He does mail-in voting.
but he don't want nobody else to do
But
mail-in
don't want
voting.
anybody else to do it. He does mail-in voting. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. But this
Yeah.
is what Republicans do when they can't win: is they cheat. And this is just another version, an extended version of cheating. They can't win. Their policies can't get people to vote for them, so they try to reduce the people who don't vote for them and their ability to do that. So,
So,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. So the administration wants every state to switch to hand-marked paper ballots. No exception. None. And they want manual audits, meaning humans physically recounting ballots after the election. Go ahead.
On the surface, that sounds like a security upgrade. Paper is tangible, but you can hold it, recount it, store it.
Constitution tensions and stuff. But here's the tension. The Constitution gives states the power to run election, not the federal government. So when Washington says do this or lose money, states see that as pressure, not partnership.
And some states already saying, no, we're not doing that. And I agree with them. You know
Yep,
what? Keep the money, keep it.
yep,
And I
yep,
think that what California and New York should do and some of these blue states is, you know what? We're not going to send our taxes in. You want to play that game? We can play it too.
yeah,
Without New
exactly.
York and California, this country's broke. So
Yep,
if you want to keep DHS funds, not a problem. States start thinking about how you can not send your tax dollars in to take care of those red states like Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, who can't take care of themselves. So let's stop taking care of them. You want to keep DHS funds, Mr. President? No problem.
exactly.
Maine walked away from about $130,000 rather than comply. Good for Maine.
Yep, that's what I say too. Good for them. Let's get into this. Let's get into this save database a little bit.
Right.
State state must run voter rolls through DHS citizenship verification database. States would be required to cross-check voter rolls using the alien systematic alien verification for entitlements database, a system known to produce false positives, including wrongly flagging eligible voters, according to Yahoo. Crazy. So that's why they're trying to strong arm other states to send in their voter rolls and stuff. And most states are not sending them including some Republican states are not sending in those voter rolls and stuff. These databases aren't even verifiable right now. Some of them aren't. I'll put it that way. Some of them aren't right now. And like I just said, they produce false positive. They keep some people from voting that are entirely eligible to vote and everything. So
I mean,
that's why.
this is just an extension of Stephen Miller and the white supremacist White House that we have currently in place, trying to prevent people from voting who don't vote for them. That's what it's all it's about. They already verified. We have no proof across the country that people are voting illegally. None. We haven't had any for 50 years. And they know that. This is just to try to put another step, no different than the taxes that they used to try, black taxes they used to try with African Americans during the civil rights movement. That's all this is. We're gonna make people go downtown, take a day off work, or take a couple hours off work to go get yourself verified as being able to vote. When your state already does that, they already run the rolls to make sure that you're not an illegal alien trying to vote. They already check for identification when you go and vote every day. This is just them trying to rig the game to make it harder for people who don't vote for them to vote. But
I
as
tell
I
you,
said, go ahead.
go ahead. I tell you how
No,
paranoid some people are. I went to vote last week in a primary in a runoff election, and me and my daughter went together. And she went in, I went in, then I looked around and said, "Oh man, I left my wallet in the car with my ID." So I was going back out the door I came in, but they told me, "No, you can go out the door. Your car's parked right there." So I went out the door, and on my way out, this white gentleman, and I'm gonna call him a gentleman, said, "Yeah, you got to get your ID. You can't vote without an ID." I didn't give him the time of the day, but I want to say, "Sir, I know what I'm doing. That's why I'm going to get my ID." I didn't say I'm going in there and not vote. I mean, vote without an ID. He was scared they won't let me vote without an ID. Like, come on, man.
because when you watch Fox News all day and you watch conservative
Yeah,
media, they
yeah.
have you thinking that you got people who are not citizens of this country going into the voting booth. I've been voting. I'm 56 years old. I've been voting my entire life. I have never seen somebody get turned away from the voting the voting booth. And even if you come in there, you don't have ID or something doesn't match on your voting rolls, you can do
A provisional,
a
provisional.
provisional ballot.
Hmm.
And then they check the provisional ballots to ensure that you're the person that you say you are. And if you're not, then that vote doesn't count.
It doesn't
That's been
count.
going on for
Yeah.
forever.
Well, there's proof that there's just not tangible proof that there's voter fraud, you know?
There is no voter fraud. And I mean, I'll sit here and clown these idiots. There is no voter fraud. Your policies stink and nobody likes them, which is why you're losing your voting base. Is because the policies that this administration and the previous Republican administrations have put on the table are terrible. This is another reason why they don't want to talk about the Iran deal when Trump and his administration got steamrolled by
Mhm.
Iran. So let's come up with something that we can run in the media to get people's attention and not focus on the fact that our president got ran over by Iran in this so-called memorandum of understanding. Now, you and I both come from the government. We've worked in the government our entire lives. A memorandum of understanding is not legal. It's just an MOU. It's just to say, hey, when I do this, you do that. It's not a contract. It's not a signature. It's not what the President Obama signed a decade ago.
Right. You're exactly right.
So
I was
this is just the administration trying to keep out of the news when it starts to come out, the details start to come out about this MOU that this idiot supposedly negotiated. They're going to realize that we got steamrolled, and we're going to pay for a country that we bombed. We're going to pay to rebuild it.
and not only they complained about 1.8 billion that Barack Obama gave back to him or something like that, and they giving them 300 billion.
Right. 300
Crazy.
billion to them. Let's not talk about all the replacement of our weapons that we have to replace.
Mhm.
All the contractors, the big box contractors are going to get these billion-dollar contracts to make more missiles, make more airplanes, make more helicopters, military equipment. It's all a grift, man. It's
Right.
all a grift. It's like,
Yep.
let's get my friends and people who are in high places more money. Let's go kill kids over in another part of the world and kill people that have nothing to do with this so that my friends can make money in corporate America.
Yep. So I'm just telling I'm telling you, I'm gonna give you I'll give you a few states. I'm gonna tell you what the percentage of voter fraud came out to.
Okay.
Arizona, 0.0000845. Georgia, 0.00003.55. And we can go down the line: Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Uh, all of them are less than 1%. Not even, all of them are less than a half a percent. A half a percent. And we're talking about in North Carolina, 81 total ballots for report for the year, for the whole year. This is not just one election. This is for the whole year. 81,877 votes in 1 year, and you got less than a half a percent of fraudulent votes. That's in North Carolina.
I said it
And
earlier. Go ahead.
in Michigan, which everybody said, 64 million votes. It's even less. 0.0000294. This they looking for they looking for a solution where there's no problem.
Not a problem, man. I keep telling people this is a grip. This is because their policies are terrible. Nobody cares about Republican policies because people realize that Republican policies are only to enrich them. They have no concern about the American public. And they
Yeah,
know they're going to lose. They know that they don't have the votes. They know they don't have the supporters in the United States to stand up and to talk about their policies and to get people to vote for them.
yeah.
So you sidetrack people. Oh, there's an issue with voting. Oh, the illegal aliens are voting. Oh, they're cheating when they're counting the votes. They have no proof of that, none whatsoever. But now you put this out. So now we're going to try to force the states by telling them that we're not going to give them money. Well, let me ask you, red states and people in America who support this idiot, what does that do for you? So when there's a hurricane, a tornado,
Yeah.
some type of natural disaster that happens in your state, and DHS takes 20% of the response. So you pay taxes to the United States, but United States doesn't give you your taxes back to support an emergency. This is what it's called when you vote against your economic and your financial or
Interests and stuff.
your own interests.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. That's
all right.
exactly what it is. So with this, there comes about logistical problems and everything. And that logistics, as you know, logistics is cost. I apologize. Logistics is cost. Logistics is cost. So switching to hand marked ballot isn't cheap. You need new ballot printers. All those new machines that we bought probably 4 years ago, they go out the window pretty much. New scanners, new storage facilities, because you got to store all these paper ballots and everything. More staff, more training, and more time. Some states estimate tens of millions just to transition. So now you're gonna put another burden on states and have them pay tens of millions of dollars to change to something you want only.
Another Trump sponsored disaster, ridiculous, stupid, idiotic idea. Just like the clown show we saw at the White House with the UFC, just like the ridiculous military parade that made us look like clowns around the world. All this costs money,
Don't
guys.
don't forget that. Don't forget the big blunder, the blue
What's that?
sea that it got. The blue sea.
The reflecting pool.
Yeah,
I've been living in the
that's
DC
a
area for
stupid
35 years.
fool.
We had never had no problem with the reflector pool. And all of a sudden when he touches it, all of a sudden now it's you got algae running around in it, paint falling off the bottom. I mean, he's turning the White House into hillbilly heaven.
What Nancy Pelosi used to call him, Mr. Mess Everything Up.
Everything they touch goes to trash.
Yep,
Everything.
yep.
Everything that he
Yeah.
gets involved with turns to trash. And now people are starting to see it. Name a successful thing that this president has done since he's been in office. Name a bill that's been passed by Congress that's been beneficial to the American public, generally
Well,
speaking.
he just turned one down.
Exactly.
He just turned one
He
down.
wants them to pass something from the voters, the voters.
But what gets me about that is the Republican Party went out on a line and said, "We showing y'all how we govern. We got a good bill across the line, and the president is going to support it, and this is going to be good for the American public." And he looks at them right in their face and said, "No, not going to do it." And they back down. They go into their little shell and whimper away. These little punks that we're paying close to $200,000 a year to sit in a seat and say, "Yes, sir, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, whatever you say, sir." They're not looking out for our interests, the American people interests. They're looking out for their own pockets. That's it.
Which
How
is
you gonna
which
let a
is
president punk you like that?
which is what they always do. The Republicans have no backbone, none whatsoever. They have no backbone. All they do is they go out and they buy everything that people are using, that people like, and they turn it into trash. Twitter was great. Everybody was using Twitter. Good information was going out on Twitter. Then what do? You have the idiot Elon Musk goes and buys it, and now Twitter is a garbage can.
Don't
It's
nobody
trash.
use it no more.
Nobody uses it anymore. Nobody cares about it. They recognize it's just another extension of the crooked Republicans.
Yeah,
Fox News every single day. They purposely go on TV just to lie.
crazy.
So they took a TV station that at the beginning was halfway decent and turned it into
Well,
trash.
Fox was one of the first stations to bring about diversity. They brought a whole lot of black shows on the TV, you know? They
Yeah,
brought a whole bunch of them out there,
but
so
there's more money in racism, and that's what they
yeah.
do. So then you go out and you get all the people like the New York Knicks owner. Well, you gonna
Mhm.
force your team to do something on their own time? You gonna force them to go to see your friend at the White House?
Yeah,
Please, I hope the Knicks
exactly.
tell him to pack sand and they
I'm
go.
I'm I can't wait. I gotta see who goes to this thing.
I
Imma
mean,
see.
it's insane. Why would the Knicks, who are predominantly black, go and see? President Trump,
Yeah,
a guy who
exactly.
calls us the blacks, or a guy who, wants to erase our history, wants to, eliminate our fair opportunities in the United States. Why would they go to see him? So he can feed them what? McDonald's?
Yeah.
I mean,
He
come on, man.
he's a joke, man.
Anyway, let's
He's a
go on
joke.
to the next one.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the slowdown, the manual audits. Manual audits sound good until you realize how slow they are. Humans counting thousands or millions of ballots. That takes time.
And in a country where people already distrust delays, imagine waiting days or weeks for results.
Delays that don't just slow down democracy, they shake confidence in it. You know,
The the
I can't
Right.
imagine. I can't
Yeah.
imagine a manual audit in New York, California, even Texas. People in Texas are complaining about that, you know? Florida might complain because they got a whole lot of old people down there counting, so
Or the leverage question, So the real question becomes, is it about election security or is it about federal control?
because tie DHS money meant for public safety to elections rules is a new move, and it's raising alarms and everything, as it
Yeah.
should.
So let's move on to the next section, citizenship verification mandate.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the second requirement. States must run their voter rules through Save Database, a DHS system designed to verify immigration status for benefits and not for elections. Had nothing to do with elections.
And that's where things get messy.
Yep. Save accuracy problems. Save doesn't contain full citizenship records. It often flags naturalized citizens as non-citizen, meaning people who are fully eligible to vote get flagged as ineligible.
And that's the plan, is to frustrate people enough where they don't want to vote. And
Yep.
who does that hit hardest? Black immigrants, Caribbean communities, African immigrants, Latino immigrants, Asian immigrants, anyone who became a citizen later in life.
Yeah, it doesn't fly, man. Doesn't fly at all. The risk of wrongful purges. If Save flags you, you're suddenly fighting to prove your citizenship, even if you've been voting for 20 years.
States have to verify citizenship of all poll workers too. Ridiculous. That's another layer of,
Poll workers are volunteers. I can see
right.
them saying, "Get out of my face! I'm not even working anymore." You know?
Yes, another layer of bureaucracy, excuse me. Another chance for mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Federal pressure. Come on, man. And again, if states don't adapt this system, they lose 20% of their DHS funding, man. I'm serious. I'm thinking about this as we are doing this episode. I don't know if it's even worth our time, but we're gonna put it out there because this is really a joke. When I get dead into it, it's a joke. Go ahead.
It's absolutely a joke. Like I said, it's this administration and Republicans who cannot figure out a way to get people to vote for them. So they cheat. And it's a clumsy way of cheating. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not it's clear as day. These are the same folks who, for 200 years in this country, have been screaming about states' rights, and that we don't want the federal government telling us how we should run our state. And this is exactly what they're doing. Let's go in and we tell them we're not going to give them money if they don't do what we want them to do. That's just exactly what it is. So I'm just waiting to hear from all the states' rights people to come out and have a problem with this. So this is unprecedented. We've never seen federal Homeland Security money tied to voter roll verification requirements. I'm so sick of hearing that word
mm,
unprecedented with this president. Everything he
exactly.
does is unprecedented.
Unprecedented. Yeah,
So
we're
go
gonna
ahead.
call him the unpresident. You know,
Exactly.
that's what we need to call him. The racial impact. We've discussed that a little bit. You got into that. I'm not going. harp on it, just naturalized citizens, overwhelming people of color in the save system. They produce false positives, and it does. The impact isn't random; it's patterned. So,
Yep. And that's why civil rights groups are sounding the alarm.
what this means for states that comply, they must overhaul their voting system, buy new machines, train thousands of workers, integrate SAVE, verify citizenships for every poll worker.
That's a massive administrative lift.
We talked about it. So states that refuse, if state refuse, they lose cybersecurity support, counterterrorism funding, emergency preparedness money. He make it seem like if something happens in Illinois, it's not gonna happen in the next state. So
Right.
if you keep emergency preparedness money and counterterrorism funding from a state that's in the middle of the country, even from New York, if you keep it from New York, it's not just gonna hurt New York; it's gonna hurt the whole country.
But he don't care, man, because when you're rich, you don't care because it does not affect you. But it
Yeah,
will affect people years down the line. It will affect people when he leaves office. When he's dead and long gone, it's going to affect the same people who have been voting for him. The
yep,
stuff that he's doing right now or trying to do, it's not going to help West Virginia. It's not going to help Kansas. It's not going to help Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, all these poor states, which are welfare queens to the tax dollar. It's not going to help them, but it will help Trump's friends. It will help Trump's corporate America friends who can get contracts and things like that while he's in office. And that's all it's about. It's all a grift of a bunch of crooks.
yeah,
So
exactly.
either way, states pay the price.
Yep. And like you said at the top of the show, you said, "Here come the lawsuits, legal challenge coming." Legal scholars say the administration may be overstepping its authority. This is where I get really crazy about, because if you're a legal scholar, that means you've been studying this stuff for a long time. That means you have the credentials. Why do they always say maybe overstepping its authority? We're likely headed towards lawsuits, maybe even in the Supreme Court fight.
Because it isn't just a policy shift, it's a structure shift.
Yeah, the big picture, what's really at stake is the moment fits into a larger picture. Federal pressure, state resistance, rising distrust, increasing polarization. That's what
But at
it
the end of
costs.
the day, but at the end of the day, people caught in the middle are the voters.
Exactly. Couldn't said it better. These are things that just gonna affect the voters themselves. It's gonna start polarization, even worse, because the red states, of course, are gonna say, "Yeah, we want to do it," knowing they don't have the manpower or the money to do it. Let's see Louisiana and Mississippi spend all their money trying to do this. Let's see it. That I want to see it. You know. Let's reflect on some of the stuff that we talked about today. Election security matters, election access matters, and when the rules of democracy become bargaining chips, the whole system feels it.
And the question now is simple. Are these changes about protecting the vote or protecting power? We know it's about protecting power. It's about protecting people who are incompetent. And this administration is severely incompetent. And they're trying to protect their money. And that's all this is about.
That's basically it. It's about trying to keep the Congress so that he don't have to deal with trying to keep the Congress so he don't have to deal with a adversarial Congress. Trying to keep the Senate so he don't have to deal with that also. You see how he did the DNI when it came time for him to go before the Senate for questioning. He changed him to an acting DNI, knowing that the acting DNI won't have to go in front of Congress for a little while, you know? So, all stupid stuff, man, just all stupid stuff. So,
Well, it's just it's par for course with this administration. When you put people who are incompetent, don't understand the position that they hold, don't understand the power that comes with that position, and how the decisions they make affect people long term, you have what it is that you have. I mean, again, I'll go back to the hillbilly party that they had on the White House, right? 10, 20, 30 years from now, people are going to be looking at that like it was a disgrace to this country.
yeah,
That's what's
pretty
going to
much.
happen when the historians start to look at that and realize that we had a president bring a UFC event onto the White House grounds. They're going to laugh.
With an albatross of a structure.
Right. On the White House grounds.
Yeah,
I mean, it's insane. Or that this president wanted to do a parade of our military. Our military has never been showcased like the Russians or the Chinese. Let them do that. We never have to showcase our military might. We do it when we need to. When it's time to go to war, when it's time to fight, you see what we have. But he did that and made a
exactly.
fool of himself and made a fool of the United States. This thing coming up on the July 4th is going to be the exact same way. You're going to have a bunch of clowns down there who have no class, who don't understand what being graceful is about. You know, you had idiots on the White House lawn fighting. Did you see that? You had them fighting,
I didn't see
throwing
that.
punches at each other, drunk, throwing punches at each other. That's what we had on the White House grounds under this president. So, yeah.
It's pitiful, just pitiful. On another note, we got any on another note today?
Only thing I want to say is it looks like the appeal team of the young brother in Texas, he's got a pretty good team, and I think they got an opportunity to show the corruption that we know went on down there in Texas. I mean, get this young man a new trial, with a legitimate jury.
Yeah,
And as I said last time, I think is I would challenge anybody in the United States, particularly any of our Caucasian brothers and sisters, that would they feel like they had a fair trial if all the jurors were African American.
yeah. For
And
those
if
of y'all that
they killed that they excuse me, that they unalived a white man, but the jury's all black, if they would be okay with that.
so, for those of y'all that don't remember, last week's show covered the Carmela Anthony case where he was found guilty and sentenced to 35 years for killing a white teenager, and it all stemmed from the black teenager being in a tent that he wasn't supposed to be in. I saw a grainy video this past week of the whole incident, and I'm not gonna I'm gonna only say from what I saw, it was just unnecessary, totally unnecessary. The grainy video showed Carmela Anthony coming in the stadium. It showed the other young gentleman and his brother, the one that lost his life, the victim who lost his life, his brother, and several other guys coming in the stadium together. The victim and his brother and friends, they go under the tent. Well, Carmelo Anthony was in the tent first. He sat to the back of the tent by himself. It was raining. It was raining. And the guy that lost his life, his brother, and three other guys came under the same tent. And from what you could see, it looked like an argument ensued. And from all the witness, they're saying that these guys were telling him to get out the tent. You know, he ain't supposed to be there. It looked like the gentleman was just Carmelo Anthony was just trying to get out of the rain. He found the tent. He got under the tent. He was at the back of the tent. Didn't look like he was bothering them. They came up to him. There seemed to be an argument, and then it seemed to show that uh, somebody pushed Carmelo Anthony, and it showed a struggle. And then you see Carmelo Anthony running out of the tent and everything. So
So
it
I,
was
I'm listen,
it was real
we
grainy. I couldn't see it.
I don't know what's out there, and some of the comments that we got on our last call. I'll be very simple with you. The lesson here is don't put your hands on people.
Yep.
And then the second lesson is I've been to track meets. I've been to
Yeah.
track meets my entire life. There are tents all over the place. You
Yep.
cannot tell me that that particular tent was any special than any other tent. Track people have tents all the time. They go in, they get treatment, they go into the tents to get out of the sun. That happens all the time. There was nothing suspicious about him going into a tent. It was pouring down rain.
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't supposed to be there. How about showing a little bit of grace and saying, you know what, it's pouring down, raining down here. Look, you can stay in the tent until it stops raining, but we'd
Yeah.
like you to leave as soon as it stops raining. Why
Yeah.
not say that?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I host track meets all the time. As an events coordinator, we host track meets all the time, and that's one of our that's one of the biggest problems we have at track meet. We have to regulate where you can put a tent because there's so many of them. So we can't even get emergency vehicles in the stadium because of them. So we start regulating where you put them. People get really mad when you touch their tent. They get really mad. My question is, where was the police officer at the time? You know, there's normally police officers in the area, but the bottom line, it didn't have to turn out the way it was. It looked like a young man was trying to get out of the rain. He went to the back of the tent. He didn't go in the middle of the crowd. He didn't talk to nobody. He didn't do anything. He just went to the back of the tent and sat down. And it seemed to me that he was just waiting for the rain to go through. Go back, you know. That's it.
Because I don't
So,
care what anybody say. I've said before, and I'll say it again. That case down there was rigged. And my point is, look, Texas, if you want to hang them, just say you want to hang them. At least we know who we're dealing with. If you say you want to rig it, just say you want to rig it. Don't come and act like this was a legitimate trial. Don't go and act like his defense attorney earned his money because he didn't. Don't act like the prosecutor didn't specifically eliminate black jurors because he didn't want somebody to look like the defendant in the jury room, because that's exactly what happened. So just be honest and tell us exactly what it is that you wanted to do and that you did it. Don't act like this was the American justice system and that he got a fair trial, because he didn't. And I hope
mm,
that his new team comes in with some better, legal advice
mm,
and gets this man a fair trial so he can be judged by people of his 12 people of his peers.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of stuff today. My My on another note is just the debacle with our federal with our government, Congress, the Senate, and the president. We are a dysfunctional government in all areas. I've seen a dysfunctional government. America has been in bad situations before, but the stronghold has been the court system. The court system is not fair to black people as much as I think they should be. But when it came down to the country, you could always get some kind of justice from the courts. The courts they really stink now, especially the Supreme Court. Federal courts, federal judges are doing a great job, in my opinion. Even Republican judges, selected judges are holding the line. The Supreme Court is a freaking joke. It's almost more of a joke than the president right now. They're they seem to have thrown out law presidents as like it never was a thing. And the Supreme Court used to rule almost totally on presidents, you know? So my note is just we look like a clown country, and the debacle with the bill today that was sent to the president and he turned it back just shows, even when we got Congress finally doing some work, we got a president that don't wanna make it happen, you know? So, that's my on another note. That's
Well, and I'll just follow up and say that,
yeah.
but that's his president. I mean, look at the World Cup. Like the World Cup is the one sporting event.
Mhm,
It happens every 4 years that everybody in the entire world focuses on. Everybody is looking, everybody's watching, everybody's cheering. People come to different countries. You don't typically have any issues. People meet folks from all over the world, sit down, have a drink with each other, enjoy, the fellowship of watching the soccer game. And what has this administration done? And they turned it into politics, forcing the Iranian team to fly back and forth out of the country after their games and before their games, right? Sending a Somali referee, the best referee, by the way, on the continent of Africa, back to his country because this administration has an issue with a congresswoman from Minnesota who happens to be Somali, right? People are complaining about the World Cup, the way this country is treating people inside this country. That's because of Trump. That's because of him and his idiotic, unqualified administration. So you taking a World Cup, a game that has been sent to different countries every 4 years for 100 years,
mhm.
and turned it into a calamity where it's going to be talked about years coming down the line is that it was the worst World Cup that we ever had.
It don't
So
mean
explain
any
that to me.
it don't mean anything to him. It really doesn't. It's just a pain in the butt to him. And he's supposed to have a speech on the mall that's supposed to overlook the reflecting pool and everything. And now they got gates around the reflecting pool. It's gonna
Yeah,
be a
because some
joke.
yeah,
What
because somebody in DC is really so interested in reflection pool that they went down there to vandalize it. I mean, well, how ridiculous. It's just, I mean, it's insane. The idiotic stuff that comes out of this administration. No, the reflector pool's been there for years. No one has touched it. People run by there every day. The Marines do the exercise every day. Hell, I've jogged on the reflector pool
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Nobody cares about it. No one's gonna go out there and put anything in it. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And now they got fence around it and the National Guard guarding it, you know?
I mean, it's like it's comedy gold, man. I mean,
Exactly.
if the comedians around the country wanted to make money, I mean, they could just talk about this administration the entire show, and people would be on the floor laughing.
Exactly. They would, they would. Okay, well, thanks
Powered
a
by
lot, man.
Riverside FM.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's like I said, we could talk about a whole lot of things for a whole lot of time because this president and this administration give you a lot to talk about. They really do. I can't get into that. So anyway,
I
thanks
just
a
say to
lot,
the American,
everybody.
I just say to American people, good luck, man, with the clown show.
Exactly. Good
All right,
luck
we
with the
reduces,
clown
brother.
show. Thanks a lot, man. Once again, everybody, we appreciate the numbers. Keep calling, subscribe, go to our YouTube channel, see what we got, okay? Appreciate you. Bye.
See you.